Hey everybody, it's time for my top 5 solo games, and I will sneak in one runner-up that I just could not mention. So, I'm going to have a lot of fun with this, but I really want to tell you the category. So, here's what happens. I wanted to narrow this down to solo game designs only, not the solo variant for a multiplayer game that also plays for one. These games were wholly designed for a solo experience, and so that does narrow it down quite a bit, but honestly, there were a ton of great games to pick from. And the way I decided these solo games is by kind of focusing on a different kind of mechanic. And so I like them all, and they focus on one way of playing that I really enjoy and that just captures me, with theme, with gameplay, strategy, all of that good stuff. So let's jump right into it. I want to begin with that number 5. This game is all about trying to figure out who the mysterious lady is. It is Black Sonata. Okay, so I find that this game is so compelling because it's all about deduction. And to have a solo deduction game where you essentially can mess up and it only affects you is kind of brilliant, because a lot of those group games where you're either working together or you're working competitively and it has deduction built into the game, there's always human error. And sometimes one human error can make everybody's experience essentially affected by that because of the mistake they made in deduction, in figuring something out and or giving information accurately. So in Black Sonata, you actually have just insane amounts of possibilities to play this game. So it's be like forever replayable, because you're not going to remember the routes. You're not going to remember the way that the lady navigates, and you're essentially trying to track the route and figure out who the lady is based on deduction, based on key identifying features. And so the game is about a half hour long. It takes a little bit to set up, and I will say the beginning is kind of confusing, the way you set up the different cards for the routes so that you have like a game to play. But once you get past that initial setup and you understand how the game works every time, you're going to be fine. A little bit of learning curve getting into it. But the complexity here, it says on BGG, is a 2 out of 5. And with the half hour, it's easily replayable right away if you don't get it. But boy, is it really successful and exciting when you do get it. There's a scale for how, challenging it can be, how much time you give yourself versus how little time you give yourself. But you want to track her and try to reveal where she is. And the way that it works is with a little hole in the card by saying, I think she's in this location and you're in that location. So you put the card over it, and then you're going to either get the symbol or not. And it's so exciting. Like, the game has a lot of thrill to it. So with the hidden lady's hidden movement, and with you kind of tracking the possibilities of where she goes, and then the way the game continually gets harder and harder when you have fog, when you have like missing steps, when you can't track exactly what she does and really just figure it out exactly, you have to start making some leaps in judgment and some real stabs in the dark. And it's so delightful and so replayable. And with such a small box and endless variety with like paths and who the lady could be, just really, really cool. And there is a little bit of press your luck, because sometimes you have to make a 50-50 guess or a 33% guess or a 66% guess, where you're like, this might be right. I have a high likelihood of it being right, but you don't necessarily know. Tons and tons of fun, and this is the best way to start off my top 5 solo games with Black Sonata from 2017. Okay, let's move on to number 4. This one comes in a really small package, but packs a punch when it comes to another of my favorite mechanics, trick-taking. So let's take a look at number 4. He's so tiny! So For Northwood, a solo trick-taking game, is my number 4. Oh, you can barely see it back there. Okay, so this game is just absolutely adorable. So the cards and the kind of light theme that you get here with the creatures in the forest and essentially creating a conversation or dialogue to like connect everyone together is really charming and positive. But ultimately, this is a tactical trick-taking game. And I didn't know you could play a trick-taking game by yourself. And, trick-taking has really been surprising. It's been delightful in the last couple of years. The way that we are interpreting that, taking these old hearts and spades games from, when I was growing up, and now we've got all kinds of trick-taking games, some of them cooperative, and now solo. So for me, I could pull this out. This is compact. I mean, you see how small it is. But the way this works is you're essentially trying to get the set number of tricks for 7 of these rulers, and you've got special cards that might give you bonuses if you earn their favor, but you are trying to see if you can win more tricks, and there is a trump card that will allow you to essentially play with the cards in your hand that round for the trump. But you are trying to win these, and it has a little bit of that battle line feature where you have like a line of cards in front of you, but it's essentially 1 trick all the way to 7 tricks winning. So the ends are really hard, but the end cards in the line are going to give you more points, and you want to earn a specific amount of points to earn bronze, silver, or gold medal at the end. And there are just so many lovely features to this that make it super, super replayable. You've got different difficulty levels. You've got 24 rulers, which you only use 12 in each round, and 16 scenario challenge rulebook. So a lot of replayability, a lot of charm. And again, the trick-taking works in this. Like, it's not just because it's got trick-taking and it's solo. It actually is really clever, the way that you are playing your cards and either wanting to win or wanting to lose a hand based on probability. And so very tactical, very, very clever. And so this as a, 15 to 30 minute game, again, like Black Sonata, if you lose, you just set up a new one and just play again, because again, the charm is there, the quality is there, the level of gameplay is there, and just really honing in on trick-taking as a solo experience. So replayable, so fun, and 100% adorable. So For Northwood is my number 4. Oh, we are just moving right along, and I am super excited for my number 3. This game has tons of theme that I adore. I love this thing that the game is about, but more importantly, this has bag building and bag drawing, and it can't get more thrilling than that for me. I absolutely love what this game provides. It is Coffee Roaster. So Coffee Roaster, I think this is the oldest of the games on my list. It's 10 years old, 2015. Stands up, stands up. So yes, this game, let me put it up here in my space. Good and good. Not tumbling over. My new space for my top 5 games. Coffee Roaster is a game of trying to figure out when is the perfect time to essentially end the game. You get to dictate how many rounds of bag building you get to then do what you need to do. And there are so many different goal cards that ask you for a certain level and a certain number and a certain expectation of coffee. But there are different stages of coffee beans, from raw all the way to light roast, medium roast, dark roast, burnt. So the more you kind of like spend in the game churning your coffee beans from raw to burnt, you want to get higher numbers because those are going to be the beans that go into your cup of coffee at the end. So you're essentially trying to get flavor notes and tastings along the way, because then you go into the end game, and the end game is so fun because you've got everything in your bag that you've been just honing and figuring out and fine-tuning and roasting, and then you start drawing one at a time and you place it in your coffee cup. Or if you have the ability to kind of throw them into the throwaway bins, you can get rid of something to then hopefully find the thing you really want at the bottom. And so based on the card that you have, you want to get a certain number. And so your number's not always the same. You don't want like the biggest number. You want the just right number based on that particular kind of coffee that you're brewing. And so there are endless cards of those. And it's just so fun. I love the drawing at the end going, oh, I'll make it my 4. Oh, I really need nothing higher than a 2. Or it's going to be over the top. I need to get that note, that sweet note. I need to get that thing that goes into my coffee to make it perfect. And so you're just trying to figure out, again, the first stage is building your bag and going through several stages of bag building until you get to the brewing the coffee. And is your coffee going to be just right, or is it going to be over the top? Or maybe under. You might even get too far under because you rushed the system, you rushed the whole game, and you didn't get enough of the good stuff. Just a lot of fun and endlessly replayable. This is a fun one. This is where I'm just like, yes, right in my zone. I'm a coffee gal. I mean, I know I like tea and I talk about tea on my channel because there's more tea games than there are coffee games, I think. I feel like. But coffee, I have that every morning. Love my coffee. So just a delightful theme. But the theme totally lines up with the mechanics and the bag building. The bag building is so fun. All right, that's my number 3 coffee roaster. All right, moving on to my number 2. This is super, super thematic and also has some chucking of dice. So while the previous games had some really cool mechanics, again, number 5 had the deduction, number 4 has the trick taking, number 3 has the bag building and drawing. My number 2 is all about surviving, and it's, again, the most thematic solo game I can imagine playing and having so much fun playing. Now, here it is, and this is one of the 3 massive boxes that come with this game. We got Final Girl. So this is Final Girl Series 3. We have Series 2 and Series 1 boxes, but I just grabbed 3 because it was easiest to get to. It's the most recent. The entire series is dynamite. Now you do need some table space for this because you essentially have to set up a killer. This is essentially recreating the final girl of the classic horror film trope. And you've got a villain or a baddie, and they are going to have a particular way of acting and a particular way of essentially coming at the lead or the hero, which is you. You're playing essentially the girl, the final girl. And they're going to tromp around location. Whatever location is essentially the movie that it's recreating for you. Whether it's a mall or it's going to be a camp in the woods, whatever it is going to put you in that place. And your goal as the hero will be very easily laid out, which is, again, to survive, to grab items, to save people, etc. And you are going to be working against the horror that this bad person is going to inflict upon you as that last, final standing girl. But you can get those items. You can essentially equip yourself and navigate in a way that lets you build up your character without getting too hurt or defeated or horrified. But that takes time. And so time is against you in this. And there is a really clever card play and dice rolling that you have to really work with and mitigate, because there is a little bit of press your luck and there is a little bit of just luck. And so this game offers players tactics and overall strategy and replayability with these characters. You get to play that has a slightly different focus and a slightly different strength against these baddies or these killers. And so there's so much theme. There's so much fun. And it plays out like a movie. Twists happen. You trip on a thing right when you feel like it's a for sure go. You lock something in right at the last minute when it's, just unbelievable. There's even this moment where you might have a come back to life moment where it looks like you're dead and then you kind of just are laying there on the ground and then you like gasp for air and you're like, no, I've got a second wind. That didn't get me. He didn't take me down. And it's just, again, so, so fun. This game has a lot to offer. And again, it's got a big table presence, but it is the kind of game that you walk away with feeling like you did just recreate and feel yourself live out a movie. And it's so much fun. And you have a lot of different characters to pick from. Like I said, a lot of different locations and a lot of different baddies. So dynamite game that I am going to plan. This is me as an instructor, a college instructor. I live my life to breaks. And so what I think I might do, because this summer I played Oblivion Remastered and it's been tons of fun and I love playing my video games, but I think what I might do is this coming winter break, when I have a break between fall term and spring term, I want to paint these minis. I want to paint the minis from all of the series. I don't know if I'm going to get to, it's a lot of minis. But from the series 1, 2, and 3 for just all the figures. I think it would be, I've seen the ones online, I've seen the ones on BGG that people have painted. They look so good. And I'm like, oh, I want to print my minis. So I think that might be my goal, my winter break task is just to, sit down and then just paint. I think they would look so good with this series. And again, it would really add to the theme and to the color and to the feel that this game already provides players. So if you want a little bit of fun, you want a little bit of wild, you want a ton of theme and some fantastic technique, like tactics and strategy, this is it. This is it for sure. And this is the highest ranked game on BGG for all of my top solo games on this list. All right, but that does leave one more that I enjoy even more than I enjoy Final Girl. But what I want to do right now is cut to my runner-up. I wanted to include one game that didn't make my list that was this close from my list. And that game is from Freedom and Freeze. It is... Finished. This is a classic. This is delightful. This has a game that, again, I talk about replayability with these games and the kind of variety you get. This game is always the same every time you play it, but it's all about the shuffle. It's all about the shuffle. So you're going to take all the cards in this game and you are wanting to organize them. You're essentially at work and you're trying to stay awake. It is a puzzle game. And you are trying to get all of these cards in order, but you have shuffled them 1 to 48, and you are trying to line up the times with this. Now, you do have some coffee, you do have some sweets to keep you awake, but this game is all about reorganizing your cards, and you have to do it within 8 rounds. It's a fast, fun, puzzly card that does require maybe a little bit of memory, definitely hand management, and it just, I don't know, like the theme lines up really well. I love the big chunky wooden pieces in here. And the fact that it's just the same 48 cards every time and you just shuffle them up and then that is going to be your game and it's you puzzling out how to get them reorganized back to the 1 to 48 by the time you get to the end of the 8th round is kind of clever. None of the other games that I have out here do that. And it is, next to For Northwood, the most compact, the most packable game. And I always love having those packable games. And I love having those games that, don't break the bank when it comes to like cost. And also don't really take you so much time. This is a half-hour to 45-minute game. And I think it just is really, really lovely. And I just always dig a good Freedom and Freeze game. So that's going to be my runner-up. Okay, so I want to move on to my number 1. This game really caught me off guard and provides yet again another mechanic that I didn't think would work well with solo. It is a word game partnered with this kind of, deck building adventure with a character that you are continually souping up and kind of has a little bit of a dungeon kind of crawl feel because you're fighting monsters in this, but you're fighting them with words and with letters. And I'm like, how? So when I saw this on Kickstarter, I backed it. The game is Paperback Adventures. Now, with Paperback Adventures, you need to get the core box and then you can invest in all the characters. I chose, when I backed it on Kickstarter, Damsel, but there's also Plot Hook and Ex Machina, and I'm excited to check out those. I will do a quick shout out. I have got a video coming out soon of the newest, latest, and greatest character, Iron Knee. So if you want to check out the newest one, I'm going to have one specifically dedicated to Iron Knee. But in this case, my top 5 solo experience is paperback adventures with any of the character sets. If you've got any or all of them, I think the core game is so good. So this game has, again, that deck building feel, but is a word game. And I don't know of any other games out there that really do this. And so a little bit of setup here with the cards and with the decks, but once you get your letter deck put together that has the core but also has maybe some extra letters or different letters for your character, you are going to be just going round by round trying to build words. And the cool thing here is you splay your cards one direction or the other, gaining the benefits on either the left or the right side of your card. And then the top card that you leave, which is the beginning of your word, might have a special bonus in the center. So you've got a lot of choice here. You've got a lot of creativity. You've got a lot of word building. And then you are slowly building your deck as you defeat these level 1s, level 2s, level 3 monsters for an entire campaign, which will take you multiple times sitting down to play, because this game takes up to 3 hours, maybe a little bit more to play. So every time you get through a series of battles, you might want to just stop, mark your progress, come back to it. If you have the chance to leave it on the table, leave it on the table. But to get all the way to the end, that means you've won the game, and you're likely to just die along the way because there are different ways of tracking different resources and, of course, your health in addition to the enemy's health. It's really clever. I love how it works. I love that it's got just story elements like MacGuffins and really cool items that are just so much in the feel for your particular genre that you picked. Because in paperback adventures, these are pulpy stories, and the game has such a lovely feel to it. So as you're playing, you feel like you're in that kind of pulpy magazine, that pulpy book, and you are just kind of wordsmithing your way through the entire thing. There are a couple little, fiddly bits with remembering your turn. Sometimes your turns can get really big. You might have a this, and then a this, and then a that, and then a that. And so trying to remember all your things to do, make sure you remember all of your bonuses. But it's that kind of an experience. And if you like that kind of cascade, then this is so fun. And the theme is there. The gameplay is there. I really do like the wordplay. I mean, that's like the heart of this. If you're not building good words or words that are good for your particular hand and versus your particular enemy, you're not going to be that successful. And so the game, the crux of it really does come down to that wordsmithing and then creating a deck of letters that really helps you be strong and long-lasting in the game. Because again, it's really hard to get all the way to the end. So tons of replayability here, tons of fun, and I think this game is just going to keep growing with more character boxes. And again, another shout out, just keep your eyes peeled for my special video dedicated just to Iron Knee, which is that newest character and what that character offers gameplay for players. But Paperback Adventures is my #1 solo experience game. What's yours? Please get it in that comments below. Write it down there. What are your favorite solo game experiences? Yes, there are a lot to pick from. These are mine. These are mine. And I did, again, really focus my my list on different types of mechanics and experiences and themes that I thought had some variety in length, in complexity, and in fun. So take my list, but also add yours. Tell me what yours is. All right, everybody. I will see you next time for another Top 5. Bye.